To the United States now, and a first-of-its-kind court ruling that could turn into a big roadblock for Donald Trump and his run for the White House. The decision by Colorado's Supreme Court bars him from the ballot in the state's Republican primary.
They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you.
That is Trump campaigning in Iowa last night after the Colorado Supreme Court handed down the first-of-its-kind ruling. Polls show the former president is far and away the favorite to win the Republican presidential nomination. Richard Madden joins us on this story from Washington this morning. And Richard, tell us more about this ruling.
Yeah, as you noted, this is the first time in U.S. history that a state court has used a little-known section from the 14th Amendment to disqualify a presidential candidate. Colorado's High Court has ruled Donald Trump violated the Constitution's so-called insurrection clause, citing his role in the January 6th riots on Capitol Hill. And so they've ordered his name be kicked off the primary presidential ballots. Now, this stunning ruling doesn't apply outside Colorado, but it poses an immediate threat to Trump's candidacy. Similar cases have been filed in more than 24 other states by progressive groups accusing Trump of being an insurrectionist. They're citing an old law from the Civil War era meant to keep Confederate sympathizers from returning to power. Now, most have been tossed out or being appealed, but Colorado is the first to rule in favor of the plaintiffs. Here's its Secretary of State, Jenna Griswold.
Frankly, this case is only here because Trump's actions himself. He is the person who has led to this decision that he is disqualified because he tried to steal the presidency from the American people.
Judges were all appointed by Democratic governors have paused its decision until January 4th, and circle that on your calendar because that's just one day before its deadline to certify candidates for the state's primary. And as expected, Trump's lawyers have said they'll appeal this ruling all the way to the Supreme Court, blasting it as partisan and irresponsible. Bottom line here, this is uncharted territory that forces a monumental response by the Supreme Court, where Trump appointed 3 of its judges. So how they'll handle this case and how fast they'll make their decision is anyone's guess. But Trump needs them to restore his spot on the ballot, and time is crucial for the political calendar. The Iowa caucuses begin in mid-January, New Hampshire and South Carolina shortly thereafter.
All right, so time is of the essence, and as you said, uncharted territory here, Richard. What could this potentially mean for Donald Trump's campaign, this ruling?
Well, at this point, Trump has a commanding lead in the Republican primary and is using this latest ruling against him like he's done with previous court challenges. He's playing the victim, fundraising off it, and trying to turn the tables, accusing Democrats of being a threat to democracy. Even his rivals campaigning against him are rallying to his side. Take a listen.
We don't need to have judges making these decisions. We need voters to make these decisions. So I want to see this in the hands of the voters.
They're criminalizing politics, and that's what Trump is facing.
I do not believe Donald Trump should be prevented from being president of the United States by any court. I think he should be prevented from being president of the United States by the voters of this country.
So far, we haven't heard reaction from the White House, but many Democrats have voiced their support for the ruling, saying there's ample evidence the former president incited an attack on their democracy and there should be consequences.
Much more to come on this story for sure. Richard Madden keeping tabs on things in Washington this morning. Thanks, Richard.
You bet.